As we see here with the Daily Nation, let me just actually refer to our soft copy.
Yes.
And the 4 main areas, at least, that they have picked, and you can see the pages where you can read more about that, the changes that are imminent, the judiciary, subsidies, education, and agriculture. A big one today that's happening. We don't know which particular time. It hasn't been communicated in terms of the hour that it will be done. But the swearing in of the 6 judges. This is a big deal. And he had actually said it before, even talking to our boss, Joe Ageo, that he would effect this on day 1.
Yes.
Which he did.
Yes.
How significant is this move? And what message is it sending to the previous administration and to his intent of keeping his word?
Mark, you know, it's ironical that actually we are talking about the former administration, that he was part and he was the second in command.
Yes.
And I think one of the lessons that Kenyans will go away with is that the Jubilee administration had issues with the judiciary.
That's right.
We had the issues of obeying the court orders. They were having the issues of implementing the judicial fund in terms of even the appointment of judges. And I think this came out glaring 3 years ago when the Judicial Service Commission had shortlisted the 41 judges, to the extent that even 1 judge died before they were actually appointed. So when the president decided to appoint 34 judges and ignore the 6, then the question came out that what was in the intent of not appointing the 6 judges.
Yeah.
But even before that, Uhuru had issues with the judiciary, especially after the nullification of the 2017 election, where we had the famous "we will revisit." And because of that, we saw even the slashing of budget to the judiciary, them trying to talk to parliament to do that, and that was not coming through. Maraga having issuing various statements to the extent that even issued now, they want to disband parliament because of the 2/3 gender rule. Remember, there is even a time he warned that where there is no rule of law, we are headed to anarchy. So these were some of the sentiments that we were seeing. And in the campaign trail, all the candidates were committing to abide by the rule of law. Right. And even yesterday when William took the oath of office, the first oath was to allegiance to the Constitution and the subsidiary laws before the allegiance of due diligence to the office that is now occupying.
Right.
So that actually was where people were going to see where the rubber meets the road, that was he going to hold to his word and ensure that these judges are actually appointed as he had promised. Remember also, this is a judiciary that has actually affirmed his election as the president.
And is it then apt in that way? Because some people are interpreting this as a reward to the judiciary for, you know, upholding his election as a president, the 5th president. Is it really apt to, you know, relate this to how he is now, you know, extending either call it an olive branch or reward to them? Is it really a reward or something that has been in the offing?
I wouldn't look at it in terms of rewarding, because the Constitution requires that the government of the day must adequately fund the judiciary, and that is why the judicial fund is supposed to be up and running. 2, if you look at the recruitment of the judges, the composition of the Judicial Service Commission was actually representing the representative of the former president, including the Attorney General. So it meant that if they had any issues about the judges, then that was the time that that issue would have been raised. To the extent that you even now forward the names to the president for appointment, and then that is the time that the president says, I have intelligence reports. But again, it was contradicting with the former Chief Justice, David Maraga, who said the judges he addressed issues with were not the judges he did not gazette. So that was the question, at what point did now the 6 judges become the subject of talk?
Yes.
So I think for William, it's just a fodder for him that he can run with that and say, I had pledged during the campaigns that I will uphold the Constitution, and one of my first executive functions as the head of state is to actually appoint these judges, to just show the goodwill that my government is starting on a clean slate. Yes, I was part of the former administration. Things were done, but it is now the time to amend issues and move forward as a united institution, so that the 3 arms of government can work in tandem, because they're supposed to work independent but intertwined.
But is there anything specific that the retired president had against the 6 judges for him to keep it pending since 2019? And, you know, there wasn't quite a question necessarily as to their integrity. Was there an issue specifically the former President Uhuru had?
I think unless maybe now the retired president can actually tell us the issues that he had, because remember, this was a big issue. There were people who actually moved to court to compel the government to actually make public the data that they had on the judges. That was not done. The farthest that we have is that there was an intelligence report on the conduct or maybe something touching on these judges.
Yes.
But up to now, I don't think any Kenyans can stand out and say these were the issues that the president had with the judges, unless the retired Chief Justice can actually tell us if he had a clue on what exactly happened.
And